Rise and shine, beloved. Come on in. Come on in. I just want to check that. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to Spiritual Success TV Live, where we're lighting the way to help you create a clear path forward on your personal and spiritual development journey. With that being said, come on in. Come on in. Let me know that you're here. Let me go ahead and just throw a great grand rising up on Facebook. Make sure that we are broadcasting live over there as well. We are there. All right. So with that being said, come on, let's take a good healing deep breath in and exhale. If you're sitting, go ahead, sit with your feet flat, back straight, opening up your core center, allowing energy to just be able to move freely. Deep breath in again. Turn the focus inward to the rich inner life, the kingdom that is within. Activating your God self. One more for the power of 3. Good healing deep breath in. And exhale. Great grand rising, Reese. Thanks for joining us live. All right, so today we're on our 3rd installation. We are moving through the dimension of awareness. So on week 1, we talked about you cannot transform what you cannot see, or what you refuse to see. You can't transform what you refuse to see. Then week 2, we talked about owning what you see, right? So when you start owning what you see, then you have to make a decision that disruption is necessary. We have to interrupt the pattern. So owning is awakening to the door that sovereignty would allow you to walk through and command change. Remember that from last week, right? So awareness is you observing, you seeing, right? Owning sovereignty now allows you to walk through that door of awareness and command change in your life. So today we want to talk about moving from always reacting to life circumstance situations into responding. And this is all about the maturity of awareness. Please put that in your notes. The maturity of awareness, because it's not enough to just see. It's not enough to be able to just tell your story and know yourself. We need to move from just the observance and the inquiry of awareness into owning what the habit is, what the pattern is, and now into the maturity of awareness. So awareness now moves into what we call in this community, what embodiment. That is when you feel it in your body and you're not just understanding what the hindrance is, but you start managing it, right? Back to nervous system management. So now awareness moves into embodiment. It is not enough to see and decide. You must regulate. And so we want to really go a little deeper into that, into regulation, because when we start talking about reacting versus responding, most people, I have found, myself included, we are not living or leading our lives. Many times we are reacting. We're just reacting. What are we reacting to? We're reacting to stress. We're reacting to the tone that someone sets. We're reacting to triggers, our own inner triggers as well as external triggers, right? We're reacting to memories. We're reacting to fear. We're reacting to urgency. We're reacting to discomfort. We are reacting. So I've often described reacting like this. Reacting is when you allow a person, a situation, or an environment to pull your energy into their magnetic field. In other words, you allow them to pull you into their vibrational frequency, because at that time, you are allowing that frequency to be the dominant vibration in the environment. So when you are reacting, you are allowing other people, a circumstance, or an environment to dominate your vibrational frequency, to dominate your mindset, and you leave your position of divine sovereignty and you start aligning with what was said, what was shown, what you picked up on, what you were able to discern, right? And there's nothing wrong with discernment, because we want to be in discernment, not in suspicion, but in discernment. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you discern, you cannot then abandon the sovereign power of discernment to align yourself with what you're seeing, what you're observing. So when we start reacting, many times, like I said, to stress, to a tone, to triggers, to memories, right? To urgency. I am the kind of person that, and I'm just checking, here we go again. Y'all got to tell me how to keep this from happening, or I'm going to just start where I'm at. All right, listen, I'm the kind of person that I do not react to what the circumstance is dictating, especially in an emergency. I am not the person that you will hear screaming on the phone, yelling on the phone, running around frantically, jumping in my car, running and rushing. That's just not how I'm made up. I'm the kind of person that always take what we're going to talk about today, the sacred pause. If anybody can identify with that, let me know. Listen, and there's no right or wrong, right? So you may be the person that dash into action, Johnny on the spot, right there. There's no right or wrong. I'm the kind of person that I don't run. I don't rush. I'm going to pause. I'm going to evaluate. I'm going to tap in, and I'm going to hear. I've been this way all my life. I was doing it without even knowing that I was doing it. I'm the person that'll show up in chaos and bring a spirit of calm. Now, truth be told, I will fall apart when it's over. But while we have to go through the crisis, I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to be the calming factor. I'm going to be the positive thought, the positive vibration, all right? So when we are reacting, what is happening is that your nervous system now is activated. And this is something that we have to talk about, because this happens to you without you being aware that your nervous system got activated. So reaction can feel powerful in the moment, but reaction is usually just your conditioning. It's what you're used to. It is your nervous system reaction. So when we talk about your nervous system getting activated, this is such a key position to understand, because once you can understand how your nervous system gets activated, and many times, watch this, your nervous system don't mean that you're shaking and you're nervous. It doesn't even mean, it may not show up like that, right? Your nervous system will get activated when you just retreat, when you soothe, when you comfort. So anytime we're reacting to urgency, discomfort, fear, memory, stress, triggers, the whole list that I just said, what happens is that your nervous system starts pulling on old memories. So this is what we must understand about ourselves. When you recognize that all of this happens in a nanosecond, before you're even recognizing that something has shifted, something's changed, something's happened, your nervous system has already been activated, right? The nervous system is pulling on a familiar script that's telling you this is what's going to happen. This is what the outcome is going to be. Any of you, and talk back to me, if you ever recognized, quote unquote, alarm bells going off inside when you were faced with a situation, a circumstance, or if you walked into an environment. And many times we would think that those alarm bells that trigger the nervous system reaction is an indicator to pull back, not to go. Now, we are not talking about intuition. We're talking about the nervous system getting activated, because we have to pay attention, watch this, when your intuition and your insight gets triggered and there is some kind of real danger. But notice this, when that happens, and y'all talk back to me because I know everyone have experienced this, even when your spirit, your intuition alerts you of immediate danger, if you notice, there's still a calming effect about yourself. You just become heightened in your awareness and in your observation. We're not talking about discounting that. We're talking about when your nervous system is triggered and fear is triggered in a way that wants you to hide and shrink, where you could feel the uncomfortable, you could feel the anxiety, you could feel the nervousness, everything is in you telling you to run, to hide. We want to learn how to manage that. I want you to hear me. I was talking to other people over the weekend, and we were talking about how when you know what you should do, you know what you want to achieve, you know what you need to do, but for some reason you just can't seem to take the steps to do it. All of that is not managing the nervous system. So when the nervous system starts playing familiar scripts, many times you don't even hear the script. You don't even recognize it's playing. But on a deeper subconscious level, something got triggered that makes you pull back. So your emotional memory now, the emotional body tries to protect you. It is the mind repeating an old meaning. And we talked about that, right? So this is why we have to always ask ourselves, what meaning am I giving to this, right? When my emotional memory kicks in, what meaning am I giving to this? So when you live in reaction, you are not choosing in that moment. You are rehearsing an old script. You're walking in an old play. When you are reacting, put this in your notes, you are not choosing in that moment. You are reacting to an old script. You're rehearsing an old script that you have performed many, many times in the past. It's the pattern replay. It's the ego, remember the ego mind that wants to protect you and tell you, don't go in there. We don't know the outcome. We don't know if you're going to be accepted. We don't know if this is going to be a success. And then we start reacting to that. So reaction, this is how you could tell when you are reacting, right? Because reacting will feel urgent. It feels urgent, right? I can identify that sometimes when we want to run after bright, shiny objects, right? Anytime I feel like I got to run, I got to rush, I got to hurry up, I got to grab it, I got to move, and you're in that kind of frantic energy, that's reaction. It feels urgent, right? There's a difference between reacting in urgency and moving swiftly with efficiency. Please put that in your notes. There's a difference between reacting from urgency, but moving with swift efficiency. And what is the key? When you are responding, it is steady. It is calm. There's a knowing. So anytime you feel like you got to jump, you got to rush, you got to move, you're in anxiety, you're anxious, you're nervous, that's reaction. your nervous system has been activated. So in that moment, awareness has to ask, is this response aligned with who I am becoming? Right? Is this response, the way that I am responding right now, you discerning if you're reacting or responding, is this aligned with who I am becoming? So when we break that down, we start weighing now, is this an alignment with who I'm becoming? Or is this a survival pattern speaking? Y'all, this is so good right there. Please put that in your notes. Allow awareness to ask the question. In the moment, remember when I said when we're reacting, we're not choosing. We're rehearsing an old pattern. So you ask, you allow awareness to ask, is this response, what I'm getting ready to do, what I'm getting ready to say, how I'm getting ready to show up, is this who I want to become? Is this the multi-million-dollar version of myself? Is this the happy person in a relationship's response? Or is this my survival pattern speaking? You know you can't trust nobody. You know everything is trying to work against you. You know this is not what's happening now. Excuse me. This is not going to work for you, right? That's a survival pattern thinking, especially being fearful and not being able to trust. Remember from A Course in Miracles, it teaches us we don't have faith in attack. Stop having faith in attack that somebody's going to attack you, somebody's going to work against you, somebody's going to betray you. You know, I almost said it. Folks don't like you, you know it, right? We don't want to have faith in attack. They're not going to give it to me. They're going to pass me over. I never get the promotion. No, we don't want to have faith in attack. So there is a difference between feeling something and being ruled by it. Please put that in your notes as well. So when we start managing the nervous system, we want to acknowledge what we're feeling. Yes, I feel nervous. Yes, I feel unsure. Yes, I don't know the unknown or the outcome, but truly you do know. Because when you're operating with divine imagination and faith, you see the outcome, right? In the unseen realm, you can see it with your divine vision. And that's how we have to lock in. So there's a difference now between feeling all of those things from the nervous system and being ruled by it. And when we start learning how to take these steps, in spite of what we're feeling in the body, when the nervous system is triggered, that's how you start seeing miracles. That's how things just start coming into place. I was speaking with a client and he was saying that he was getting ready to take care of some major things for his business. And everything in him was screaming and hollering. The ego was throwing a temper tantrum. He was terrified. He said, absolutely terrified. But he told Tara, rather you stay here or rather you move forward with me, I'm still going. Something to that effect. And that is how we have to do. He was aware of everything, and it lasted for a while, well over a week, just in terror. But when you're operating with divine imagination and you have divine insight and vision, that is where you lock in. That is where you allow yourself to stay and remain and walk regardless of what you're feeling. And then in our community, of course, we teach them, techniques to do to start calming the nervous system instantly. Breathing is our major go-to. Stop and take those healing breaths. Align yourself and keep moving. There's a difference between now feeling something and being ruled by it, right? There's a difference between emotion and identity. I hope you can really grasp where we're going. Please put this in your notes, because these things right here, these 3 keys that I'm giving you, is going to be your ticket. If you just take this and nothing else, you have some tools and some keys to allow yourself to navigate through difficult seasons. When you recognize, okay, I feel this, I feel the nervousness, I feel the anxiety, I feel the shame, I feel the self-doubt, I don't trust people, I feel that, but I'm not going to allow it to rule me in this moment. I can feel the emotion of I'm not good enough, or I can feel the emotion of shame or guilt or imposter syndrome, but that's not my identity. The imposter syndrome is telling me I'm not good enough. Nobody wants what I have. You can't write well. You can't spell well. You can't speak well, right? But that's not my identity. That's not who I am. So there's a difference between your emotions and your identity. There is a difference between urgency, right, and clarity. Write that down. See, when you are operating from divine imagination and you have that divine wisdom and insight, and you can see with the eyes of faith, you can see the outcome, and you're operating from that outcome, right? That is when you can move with that clarity. Now, clarity is moving you forward. Thank you for the like. That's important. We need that, right? That clarity allows you to move forward without the fast pace of reaction. So reaction is fast. Reaction is urgent, right? We're not talking about speedy excellence, right? Speedy efficiency, right? Hey, Sid. Oh, I love you so much. It's so good to see you, right? Reaction is fast. Response now is measured. It's measured because you're operating from a different dimension. Come on, we know this. I'm getting ready to holler, scream, and run and take a victory lap because we know this. And this is where we have to anchor ourselves, regardless of what we're feeling in our body, regardless of what our mind is telling us or speaking in the moment. We have to realize this emotion is not my identity. I acknowledge it. I feel it. Like my client said, I am terrified to move, terrified to take this thing. I am depressed because these symptoms don't seem to let up. It seems like as soon as I'm out of one thing, something else pops up. But that's not my identity. That's not who I am. I am that I am because of my God self within. I will be whatever I need to be whenever I need to be it. That's the power of divine sovereignty that allows you to walk through the door of awareness, right? Allows you to walk through the door of awareness and command change, right? Reaction is fast. Response is measured. We're talking about the maturity of awareness now. Reaction defends. Response discerns. Again, and we're not allowing our discernment to be held hostage by what's in the environment or what's coming out at us. Why do we react instead of responding? We react because of old wounds that are not healed. And you're allowing yourself to let that pattern keep playing out, right? When we say the nervous system gets triggered, You start rehearsing the script. You go back to an old pattern, an old script, and you start moving. So there might be some unhealed wounds. And in our community, we do not spend a lot of time on healing wounds. We come into awareness. We see it, right? Because you can't transform what you refuse to see. We own it. We step into sovereignty, our agency, and we start owning it. And now today we're talking about the maturity of awareness when you move from reacting to responding, because you understand your identity. And my identity is my God self, my highest self, Holy Spirit within, whatever language works for you, right? We react because of fear of rejection. That was my biggest area coming up in my life. Fear of rejection. And remember, I taught you all about the rejection syndrome, where first you get rejected, then you fear rejection, so you reject yourself first. That is what sabotage is about. That is what investing, I want to slow down and say this, because many times we are investing in our own demise, our own smallness, because we are listening to voices, legitimate voices sometimes, authoritative voices, familiar voices, right? From our families, from our elders in the family, and we're not trusting our divine guidance from within. So first you get rejected, you experience that, then you fear being rejected, so you reject yourself first. You shut the door. When speaking with someone yesterday, they was talking about, okay, I say I want to earn money, I want to make more money, but I'm not doing the action steps that align with someone that says, I want to make more money. We understand that. And they said, I looked at my laptop all week and I know I should open it, but I didn't open it. These are the things we're here to heal, right? So unhealed wounds causes us to react. Fear of rejection will cause you to react. Playing that old script. Fear of loss of reputation, loss of identity. Do you know the transforming and transmutation I had to go through to be able to sit here and speak like this? Because the fear of loss of reputation was always in the background. They're not going to understand where you're coming from. They're going to say you're in error. But beloved, you get to a point where you have to do what you have been sent here to do, or you will literally just wither away. And I don't want to wither away and die and not fulfill my assignment because while the old scripts, and this is how the ego mind trick you, it'll make you think people can't hear you, or people are not ready to hear you, or they don't want what you have. But in the reality, there is a whole nation of people that's waiting for your unique voice, for your unique take, your unique spin, because we all have been given a divine message. So when you have a fear of loss of identity, you start trying to protect that identity, even if it is an identity that is not fully who you are or who you desire to be. Sometimes we act because of control. We want to control something. But this is what I want you to know about reaction. Reaction is not failure. It's information. Please put that in your notes. Reaction is not failure. It's information. It is showing you how you are operating. So when we get to this, the first thing to do, beloved, is to practice the sacred pause. When you realize you're reacting in this moment, is what I'm choosing aligning with the person I'm becoming, or is this going to keep me in survival mode? Is this going to keep me in a pattern of survival? a pattern of not thriving, right? So the first thing we want to do is take what we call the sacred pause. Don't underestimate a sacred pause. Come into body stillness and breathe to regulate your nervous system. Breathing will always regulate the nervous system. Then you can name the emotion. You can name it. When you come into stillness, you breathe, you regulate the emotion, the nervous system, and then you can name the emotion and recognize this is just an old script. There have been so many times in my personal and spiritual development journey, I have recognized the threat is not real. This is an old pattern. This is an old message that is replaying. There is no threat. Y'all better talk back to me. Many times there's not a real threat. It's just your mind telling you there's a threat. So once you name the emotion, now you can separate. This is a feeling. This is not my identity. I feel you. I see that you're here, but I'm not going to identify with you. Then when you can make that separation, then you can choose. So number one, you pause. Come into body stillness. 2, start deep breathing in through your nostrils, out through your mouth to regulate the nervous system. 3, name the emotion. Call it what it is. But number 4, separate yourself from that. That's not your identity. Then number 5, you can choose an aligned response. You could choose to take aligned action. Yes, there's no threat. There is no threat. It's just everything we're hearing within ourselves and our environment, from other people, from people of authority. That is your takeaway for today. Those 5 steps. Pause, breathe, name it, separate, and then choose to take an aligned action. So in your assignment, right, I want you to reflect on a recent moment that you were reacting rather than responding. And you have to look at what triggered you. What did you feel? If I were to ask you today, I know many of you can answer me. How many of you had an opportunity, that would have advanced you forward and what you say you desire, but you didn't take the opportunity? Y'all talk back to me. Come on, we all have done it more times than we care to admit. Something triggered you in your old scripts. You're not safe. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to talk about you. They're not going to receive you. I don't know if this is the will of God. What do I tell you all the time, beloved? The mere fact that it is in your atmosphere, it is in your heart, it is in your spirit, lets you know that is the will of God. It is all the creepy crap from the ego realm that wants to pull you back because it's uncomfortable. And we allow that discomfort to stop us. But in this season, the month of March, April, May, June, we want to focus purposely on doing what feels uncomfortable, doing what frightens you. Because I could tell you this, and I know this to be true. There are some great things that is in the making for you right now, in spite of the craziness, in spite of what's going on in our environment. I know that we have an opportunity. I've been telling everybody 26, 27. I don't care if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80. If you still have a desire to accomplish some things, experience some things, do service in some great way before we exit this dimension, you still have time to get in. 26, 27, right? So I want you to ask yourself, when have you reacted, instead of responding? What triggered you? What were you feeling? What meaning did you assign to that? And then what would a regulated version of you had done? So when you look back over the times when you had these opportunities, but you did not walk through, you did not take the opportunity, what would a regulated, mature version of you had done? All of us could say, I would have walked through the door. Remember, that's the sovereignty. Awareness opens the door, but sovereignty allows you to walk through and command change. Like I told you, a lot of us in our Christian experience, we got saved at the door, baptized, filled with the Holy Spirit, called to ministry, but never crossed the threshold into sovereignty where we can command change. Beloved, it is not too late. I speak and declare this over your life. Better is here. Greater is here. Healing is here. Sovereignty is your best friend moving forward, right? So, beloved, as we prepare to go forward into the spring of the year, getting to the head of this year, right? Getting ready to plant and sow the seeds of what we have meditated on, what we have seen from another dimension. We're getting ready to plant the seeds and start watering it so you can have a harvest this year. It's not too late, right? So we're sowing seeds. We're using the number 3, the number 1, sowing a $31 seed, a $13 seed, right? Whatever you can sow. So these are all the ways that you can sow. And we're so thankful. I don't even like to leave that up too long because you know why. I explained that, right? All right, lovelies, listen. Moving from reacting to responding, the maturity of awareness. It's not good enough to just see. You have to own what you're seeing, and then you have to regulate your nervous system so that you can start making different choices, making different moves, and seeing different results, right? All right, lovelies, I'm going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day and your week until our next spiritual success connection. Be blessed. Share this on your timeline. Come back after we sign off. Please leave a comment under. All of that helps the algorithm. Share it on your timeline, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.